So let's move on to chipping. Alright, this is a bit of a controversial subject involving Allied armour, especially US armour. But whether you like it or not, it does add another dimension to your model. So things did get, wear and tear, like everything in life. So again, within balance, I think I like chipping. My opinion is I like chipping. Sorry, within moderation, I suppose, depending on what the subject is and where, in the usual things like where it is and what environment is, how old it is, and blah blah blah. So, what I'm going to do is a really quick demo on this bow gear of just a bit of wear and tear. I think, obviously on Allied tanks as well, especially probably Normandy more than anywhere else. It's running through the bocage, it's got tight lanes, it's going through fields, it's going through hedges. It is going to get scuffed. A tank is going to get scuffed along with anything else. My tank I'm building is actually later than the Normandy landings. We're talking like Remagen around there. So I still would have thought it's going to get wear and tear. Probably not as much. And again, I don't know actually the life duration of this certain vehicle. So it could have been a few days, a few weeks, a few months. I've got no idea. I've got no idea on this. But again, it's your model at the end of the day. So unless you've got absolutely accurate sort of pictures of said kit you're building, then you're kind of on a bit of I'd say, free reign. It's artistic license, I think. So what I'm going to do is, like I say, just a quick demo on a bit of chipping. Lots of ways again to chipping as well, from the obviously hairspray technique to doing the sponge to, as you can see here, my paintbrush technique, and loads of others, masking fluid, salt technique, whatever. It's all, it's all sorts of wear and tear and chipping and texturing and all that. So what I've got on my wet palette here, as you can see, this is Vallejo Russian Tanker light shade, I think it is, which is just obviously a light green. I'm going to use this one. That one's going to be a bit thin. So that's going to be kind of the base of the superficial chips, I suppose. Anything deeper than that, and then obviously you're going to go into sort of black browns and red browns or whatever you want to go for. But again, we're going to layer this up. So what you want is thickish paint. I think I can get again as well, just to think it, I've got my little napkin just to unload. Alright, so we'll try and keep this in shot and my head out the way. But you're going to take some on the brush, alright, which is too much. So what you want to do is just unload. So you've got a lot of control over what you are chipping. So alright, so if you go for edges, so we're going to do the dobs and dabs and all the other bits that I've mentioned. You're just going to be touching edges, just sort of things that stick out, that's liable to probably catch twigs, branches, hedges, whatever, bricks, rubble, you name it. Alright. And then you're just going to dab brushes on, just try and keep it random. I think that's the problem with chipping with a brush. Your brain kind of wants to make order out of chaos, for want of a better phrase. And one thing as well, clean your brush in between, dry it, reload, and go again, because with these acrylics I've got no actually retarder, and if you put a bit of retarder in, that'll help just give you a bit more life. Let's just try and keep that in shot. So yeah, just going to make random shapes really. building up just texture. And just catch these corners here with these edges again. It's probably going to chip down near the wheels and so these bolts. So I'm just very, very lightly just sort of brushing, excuse the pun, but just touching over different parts. Again, if you really want random chipping, the sponge probably technique's the better one to do. But again, just this will be covered with dirt and mud effects, so again you're not going to probably see a lot of this, but just for this demo. Okay. So again, I've got a bit of stencil colour on my palette. About the head. Okay, so I'm just gonna knock a little bit of a lighter shade up again. Okay, and this is gonna be really light, but don't forget with acrylics as well, what you put on will not dry that way. It does tend to die off, so just bear that in mind. Thinking, oh, I've gone really light here, or too far, or whatever. Acrylics do die back a lot. Alright, so okay, we'll leave that there, but as you can see, there we go, look, there's some scuffs and scratches and marks and whatever else. So clean the brush. And the next colour I'm going to use is Vallejo Dark Rust. I've got a bit of that on the palette. Alright. So there we go, Vallejo Dark Rust. Alright, I'm not thinning the paint, this is just on the wet palette, so I'm not really adding any water, like so I want to keep it so it's I can control it and I don't want it running everywhere. So again, we're just going to take a little bit on the brush. You've probably seen this technique done before. So in between all the light chips, if you want a sort of a dark spot of rust coming through, this is the one of the best colours you can use. Obviously camo black brown or any similar sort of colour really. So the aim is to actually get it in the middle of your chip. Okay. Don't go for every chip, you just want to keep it, again, subtle and random. Okay. So again, the sort of the darker steel chips underneath, if you want to call it that, you can go as how little or how far you want, you see, with that technique. So I'm just gonna obviously just doing a bit of a demo here, so I'm not gonna go sort of overboard with it. And then the last technique you've definitely probably seen if you follow Martin's channel over on Night Shift, with what he uses for the enamel effects, which is a sorry about just grabbing it out of the thing. There you go. Look, this is the AK1 MIG-DO 1 AK013, the rust streaks, and this is where it just sort of brings it to life using this. So got some in the top again. It's just a dark rusty brown colour. So what we're going to do then is just dab a bit of that where you want it to. Dab it on where you want the rust to be. Okay, so what you do is let that dry, and then just grab a smidge of, again this is AK050, the odourless thinner, anybody's brand will do really. Make sure it's dry. It shouldn't take long being an enamel product, so once that's dry, what you can do is just take a tiny bit on your brush, unload it as well, so it's just barely sort of damp, I suppose. I mean, you can just even test it on your thumb. You just barely want any on your brush, and then just doing dabbing motions, like stabbing motion, just blend them in, just soften the transitions. Get some really cool effects doing this. Make sure you clean your brush regularly, just because you'll pick some up on the tip just when you're cleaning. Okay. So there we go. Just a quick 3-layer demo of chipping. Again, once you've got your dust and mud and earth effects, you know, a lot of that might be just covered up. But even if it's an inkling there, like say you're running gear and stuff down there, it's going to get chipped up. So yeah, hope that's helpful to somebody and somebody gets something out of it. So thank you for watching.